There we are. Hey, hello. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. As I always say, I'm happy that you are here. Hope you had a great weekend and had an amazing Monday. We are in our series, The War for Your Health, and we are continuing down that track. We just came out of the month of November, which was Diabetes Awareness Month, and we continued talking about the war for your health. And tonight, we continue talking about the war for your health. And specifically, we're going to go back and we're going to talk a little bit about diabetes. We're going to present kind of a model, if you will, a place that we can couch our thoughts and our ideas about how do we manage diabetes. And specifically, we're going to use the word reversing. How do we reverse diabetes? And we'll talk about what that means as we get into the show tonight. But I am glad that you're here. If you are new to me, I'm Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, creating the life you've always wanted. And I'm going to add something there. I am Dr. Dwayne Wood. I help people with type 2 diabetes reverse their diabetes when they feel stuck so that they can take charge of their health, so they can avoid complications, and so they can live a long life. That's right. Also, if you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I would love to say hello, give you a hand clap, and get you some music. Let's see, where does my music go? There we go. And just to say, welcome to the neighborhood. If you have questions, also put those in the chat with a Q and a colon in front of it so that we know that that is something that we need to get to, and we will answer those questions as we get throughout the evening. If you're out there, welcome. I see some folks there. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Go ahead and let your family and friends know that we are here. Send them the link. Go ahead and copy that, paste it into your email, paste it into your text, and send it to them. Let them know that we are here and we're going strong. All right. All right. Now, with that out of the way, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are having some technical issues, but I think we've got that all resolved now. We were just about to go live. For those of you who came on earlier, just about to go live and had to kind of delay that because of some things that were going on. But I think that's all taken care of now. Well, so the war for your health, we continue in our trek, right? We continue in the process of talking about our health. And we're going to see here in a little bit, I got a slide that kind of talks a little bit to this. And it is that the two most valuable things that we own are our time and our health. Our most valuable possessions are our time and our health. Do you believe that? We'll see that here in a minute. But the treatment for diabetes, let's start there. And in particular, let's start by talking about diabetes. And we've said it here. If you've been here for any amount of time, you've heard me say over and over and over and over that diabetes continues to be one of those diseases that plagues us. We're not quite sure, to be honest, how we treat diabetes, how we fix diabetes. And, the numbers support this idea that we're not sure, right? Because we've got 37 million people in the United States. We've got almost 500 million people on the planet, right? It's actually 462 or 63 million people, right, on the planet that are diabetic. And I'm told that over the course of the next several years, that number grows and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so we're not right now doing an effective job of managing diabetes, of preventing it, right? We're not doing a good job of preventing it. And certainly we're not doing a good job of treating it when someone has diabetes. And so, we talked a few weeks ago about this concept of reversing. And let's talk about what we mean when we say reversing. What we mean when we say reversing is diabetes a person who has diabetes, and specifically we're talking about type 2 diabetes, we have not been able to, we are not anywhere near to being able to cure, prevent, or reverse type 1 diabetes. Those are insulin requiring folks, and their issue is that their pancreatic cells have been damaged to the point where it no longer makes insulin or makes a significantly decreased amount of insulin for them for what they need. Okay, and those folks are those people who have type 1 diabetes are insulin dependent, insulin requiring, and there is no way around that. Okay, so let's couch it. Let's go ahead and say that up front. So when we're talking about reversing diabetes, we are talking specifically about those who have type 2 diabetes. As we know, type 2 diabetes is a disease of inefficient or insufficient insulin, right? Inefficient in that the insulin that is being made does not work well, and that's the whole idea of insulin resistance, or the body does not make enough for various reasons. And if you've not been with our show for a while, you can go back and look at that. We've done several shows on insulin resistance and so forth. Okay, so these are the folks who we're talking about, type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetics, whose problem is inadequate functioning of their insulin. All right. Another caveat that we've got to say is that there are a group of people, unfortunately, whose disease process has progressed to the point where their beta cells have been damaged so significantly that it's hard for them to be managed without medication. Now, notice I didn't say insulin, right? So without medication. And so there's still a lot of things that we can do for folks who are in that situation, right? But just some of those thoughts I wanted to throw out there. So when we talk about reversing, what we're really saying is we're talking about people who can manage their diabetes without medication, right? Without medication. You got that? Or very little medication. Let me throw that in, because I don't want to exclude a lot of people who may have to take a small amount of medication, right? There are people right now who are on hundreds of units of insulin, plus oral medication, plus other injectables. And to significantly reduce their medication burden is a big deal, okay? So reversing. Now, when we talk about reversing, what we want to say is that reversing diabetes is a process of making changes in the body, in the lifestyle, in the environment of a person, so that they no longer are showing the symptoms of diabetes, a particular symptom, right? So we said that sugar, high sugar, is a consequence of the problem in diabetes. So high sugar is not diabetes. High sugar is not diabetes. Diabetes is a problem with insulin usage, and so it results in high blood sugar. So what we're saying is that we want to take a person who's having significantly high blood sugars and treat their underlying cause of their disease process to the point where their blood sugars are normalized. So I want you to see that process, right? So we want to take someone who has diabetes and treat them to the point where their blood sugars are in the normal range. Whatever the pathology is, whatever the reason for that is what we're talking about when we talk about reversing diabetes. Okay, and so as we think about diabetes, one of the things that we want to make sure that we understand is that diabetes, as I mentioned, is an insulin issue. Diabetes is an insulin problem. And so because it is an insulin problem, what we want to do is we want to attack it at that space. We want to attack it in the insulin space. Because if we don't attack it in the insulin space, then we're not having success. Okay. And so here is a simple model. Here's a simple model that I want you to remember. And the model is this. All right, here's the model. We want to understand insulin. We want to understand carbohydrates. And we want to understand exercise. Insulin, carbohydrates, and we want to understand exercise. Now, how do those fit together is what we're going to be talking about. Okay, how do they fit together? That is the discussion that we are getting ready to jump into, y'all. Getting ready to jump into that discussion right now. And right, so reversing diabetes, a model for reversing diabetes. Look at that handsome guy right there. So, do you think that eating a healthy diet is important? Right? If you think yes, go ahead and pop that in the chat. If you think no, pop that in the chat. Yeah, yes or no. Do you think it is important? Okay. And then secondly, do you think you are a healthy eater? Yes or no? All right. So put that in the chat. Do you think you're a healthy eater? Yes or no? And the reason I asked that question is that I have a lot of patients who come into the office, or I talk to some clients. I talk to people even people at church that may stop me, and we talk about their diabetes. We talk about their blood sugars. And I start beginning to ask them questions about the things that they're doing in their lifestyle, in their life, right? So diet, exercise, and so forth. And so they begin listing for me the things that they're eating. And they say, well, I'm eating a good diet, right? I am, I've changed from sugary drinks. I'm now drinking diet soda or diet drinks. I've changed from fried foods, and now I'm eating salads. I've changed from eating pizza out all the time, and now we're cooking at home. Now, all of those things sound good, right? And in fact, let me put a pin there and say this, that if you have made those changes already, you've made significant improvements in your diet. You've made significant improvement in your lifestyle, particularly if you compare where you were before. Okay, so I want to say that. I want to acknowledge it. I want to acknowledge that a lot of people have made those changes. When we delve a little deeper, though, we find out that there are certain things that they're doing that predisposes them to that unhealthy diet. For example, and I'm going to tell on myself. Do I have? No, I don't have one in here. But I have said, hey, I drink diet drinks, right? I'm not going to say which one. I was going to show you. But what I found, and my wife reminded me of this just the other day, right? She said to me, because I was complaining. If you guys have been following me on social media, you see I've been showing, me exercising and me going out, and I've been showing my weight, right? And so I said to her the other day that, hey, I'm a little annoyed, right? Because my weight's kind of plateaued. Okay? And so and I'm going out and I'm walking, right? Doing my time. I've been trying to get that, 7 days a week. I'm getting out like we tell people to do. And so she said to me, I noticed that you're drinking a lot of diet drinks. Now, here's the kicker, right? So the diet drinks are good for my blood sugar, right? So they help me so that my blood sugar doesn't go up. But what happens is the sugary drinks or the diet drinks make me hungry. So what do? I eat. And sometimes it's the things that I eat offsets the fact that I didn't have a high blood sugar. You see what just happened? Okay. So there are little things like that go on where we are not, if we're not careful, then the healthy diet that we think we're having can sometimes not be as healthy. In fact, let's go back to the salad that the person said that they don't eat pizza anymore, but they eat salad. Now, I've seen some people's salads, and I've thought to myself, wow, Have you ever seen one of those? Right? You're like, okay, yeah, it is a salad. It is a salad. But the amount of croutons, the amount of dressing, the amount of cranberries, the amount of whatever else that they've put in it, right? The carbs that are in that salad sometimes are more than the carbs that it would be in a pizza. Okay, so that's the healthy diet. Healthy diet. And hey, I see Tech Troublemaker that's out there. Hey man, thank you for coming through. He says yes. He thinks that healthy diet is important, and no. That's right. We telling ourselves, right? We telling ourselves. Yeah. He said, I find that diet drinks cause strange cravings. Yes. Diet drinks cause strange cravings. Now, let's go back to, and I'm going to use that as a jumping off point for a couple of things, right? And let's hop back over here for a minute. Okay, so we've got our little survey. Yes, it is important, and no, we probably don't eat as healthily as we thought. Okay, right. So the impact of unhealthy foods, and we know a lot of this, right? We know that if we eat unhealthy foods, then we are predisposed to strokes and diabetes, dehydration, obesity, heart disease, and heart attacks. Right. So that's stuff that we know, and it is. A lot of people say, well, let me say not a lot of people. The thought is that if somebody knows that this stuff happens, then it is a push for them to not eat the way they eat. And the truth is that fear, a lot of times, is not a good motivator for diet. What do I mean by that? So I've had people who come to the office because they have either requested from their doctor or they have been a patient and they have not been controlled, and all of a sudden they come in because they want to get controlled. And I say to them, well, what happened? And they'll say, my cousin had a stroke. My dad had a stroke. Somebody had a stroke. And you would think that because of that, everything goes well from there. But what happens is they come in because they are afraid. And after a while, guess what happens to the feeling of fear? The feeling of fear goes away. Because the further away you get from the fact that this person had a stroke or died, the less intense the emotion. And so after a while, right, the motivation from the fear is no longer there. So I tell people that's not what we want to do. We don't want to scare somebody into quote unquote changing their lifestyle. Now, it will work for a while. And there are a group of people that they were scared once, and for the rest of their lives, right? They don't go back. But for the majority of people, the further away you get from that fear, the less impact it has on what we do and how we adjust our diets and how we adjust what we do in our lifestyle. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So let's hop back over here. So let's get rid of that guy. Here we go. So strokes and all of the complications that we know that come along with our health, our eating. So things to pay attention to when we're eating. Number one, the ingredient list. That's the ingredient list on the package and the ingredient list in your life, in your home, in the foods that you eat. Okay? We want to look at the nutrition claims of certain things. And this one, sometimes I am annoyed with the industry as they portray things. Let me give you an example. I hope I'm not going to get in trouble with the industry people. So here's an example. This is diet bread, right? This diet bread will help you control your A1C. And you go and you buy the diet bread, or the low carb bread, or the no carb bread. And what you find is that blood sugar still spikes. And because people are eating low carb, no carb diet bread, they think that when they normally used to eat like one slice or two slices, they can eat three or four. Well, 3 or 4 slices of a diet bread is just like eating one slice of regular bread. Or, hey, eat this food, or for instance, shakes, right? So we've got the diabetic friendly shakes or the low glycemic shakes. Well, if you look at those shakes, they have 20, 30 grams of carbs. And so if you're not paying attention to the packaging, then you think, oh, it's a diabetic friendly shake, so I'll go drink that. And we don't consider the fact that that continues to have or play havoc on our blood sugars. Okay, so the first thing, and we're going through this, and I'm coming back to the model here in a minute, right? Just want to make sure that we understand. So coming back to the model. All right, so you look at nutritional claims. We're going to look at health claims. So not just the nutritional claims, but the health claims. So we did one of our online courses is called Unmasking the Sweet Truth About Sugar. And in the course, what we're doing is we're walking through talking about the effects of sugar, where sugars are, and so forth. One of our shorts and one of the videos that we did talked about the names of sugar. I think I gave 15 of them, right? Molasses, high fructose corn syrup. I mean, there's one in this that's cane sugar, right? Sucrose, fructose, galactose. And if you're not aware that those names or those words mean sugar, then you think that this thing does not affect my blood sugar when it does. So the nutritional claims, the health claims, and of course the sugar content. Now, here I want to make a distinction between three things. Number one, I want to make a distinction between natural sugar or added sugar. An apple has natural sugar. A chocolate bar has added sugar. And there is a difference. There's a difference because the way the body processes, even though it all turns into glucose, you get a higher spike in your blood sugar if you eat a chocolate bar versus an apple, or a chocolate bar versus a banana, or a chocolate bar versus, you pick your fruit of choice. The benefit of eating the fruit that has the natural sugars is that the fruit also has other things in it. Like what? It also has fluid. I don't think there's a lot of fluid in a candy bar. Right? So the fruit has fluid. The fruit has other nutrients, so vitamins and minerals. The candy bar may have some added vitamins and minerals, that are added, but the fruit has it. And the fruit also has fiber. Fruit has fiber. So fluid, vitamins, minerals, other nutrients, and fiber. And that fiber that I mentioned, the fiber helps to blunt the rise in blood sugar. And we're going to talk here in a minute about what the rise in blood sugar does, because that's a big part of, and Tech Troublemaker here talked about cravings. The fluctuations in our blood sugar has a big part to play in our cravings. Okay? All right. So sugar content. Oh yeah. So we want to make a different distinction between sugar. So natural and artificial, not artificial, but added sugar, natural or added sugar. And now we haven't even talked about the artificial sweeteners. This is like true sugar that they put in there. All right, that's the first thing. The other thing that we want to make a distinction between are the sugar and carbs. So if you look at a package, it will list on that package the number of carbohydrates that are in the package. It will list the number of sugars that are in that package, and it will list the amount of fiber that's in it, right? So carbs, sugar, fiber. Sometimes you'll see something that says no sugar added. right? So you look at the package and you look at that sugar line and it'll be 0. And that's great. But if you look right above that sugar line, you'll see 35, 45, 50 grams of carbs. So what happens to carbs? Carbohydrates get turned into sugar in the body. So just because something says no sugar does not necessarily mean that it does not cause a rise in blood sugar. Okay? So once again, look at the list of ingredients, look at the nutritional claims, look at the health claims, and then look at the sugar content, right? So things to pay attention to when you are eating. And then here are some do's and some don'ts, y'all. Here's some do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. So do prioritize whole foods, right? And you will hear me more and more talking about the benefit of whole foods. If you go back and listen to one of the earlier shows that we did as we walked through the War for Your Health, we talked a lot about processed foods. And this is a space, this is a place right here for us to talk and say, hey, whole foods are better for you. They tend to be more healthy. They tend to have more things that we want in our diet as we are working to fight this war, right? So whole foods, that is eating things that are as close as possible to their original form. That is eating an orange instead of drinking orange juice, right? Eating an apple instead of drinking apple juice. Okay, so make sure that you understand that. Do read, so this is do's and don'ts. So do read food labels. Do read food labels carefully, as we just talked about. Right? So making sure that you're going through and you're paying attention to all the things that are there that can derail your quest to reverse diabetes. Do stay hydrated with water. Stay hydrated. Because if you don't stay hydrated, then you sometimes will feel like you're hungry. The insulin that your body's making doesn't work as effectively. You don't wash out those toxins. Your blood sugar stays higher. Right? All those things are benefited by hydration. So those are the do's. And then don't overindulge in processed foods, right? So that goes right along with eating more whole foods, and then don't indulge don't overindulge in processed foods. Now, it's worth mentioning here, okay? And I got to be careful as I say this, because I don't want, well, I'm just going to say it. Maybe I'll clean it up in a minute. Just because you eat, pick your thing of choice. Just because you eat the chocolate bar, that one chocolate bar, doesn't mean that you have screwed up your entire life. That's right, I said it. So there are some people who say that never, ever, ever again should you ever put a chocolate bar in your mouth. I'm not one of those. Now, is a chocolate bar the best choice of a meal? No. Is a chocolate bar the best source of nutrition? Nope. Is a chocolate bar going to give you all the balanced food that we will talk about? The answer is no. So why would you eat the chocolate bar? Hey, because it tastes good, and because I like it. And right, we go on those because. So one of the things that happens when we talk about food and we talk about diabetes and we talk about weight and we talk about health in general, as it relates to our eating, is there's this idea of scarcity. Scarcity says that I'm probably never going to get another chocolate bar. Or I can never eat another chocolate bar for the rest of my life. And so what's going to happen is when I see a chocolate bar, or I have access to chocolate bars, I'm going to eat as many of those chocolate bars as I possibly can, because I don't know because they're scarce. I don't know when I'm getting any more. I don't know when it's coming back in the house. I don't know when my husband, my wife, my father, my brother, sister, I don't know when they're going to let me have another one. So on Thanksgiving night, right, when I'm sitting at the table and they're eating the apple pie or the peach cobbler or whatever they've made, right, and I'm not having any, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait till everybody go to sleep. Because when they go to sleep, it's going to be on. I'm coming down, right? And here's what happens, right? I had a lady recently said to me, she said, you would think that he would just eat one, right? Whatever it was. I forgot what we were talking about. She said, man, I have all this stuff, and you would think he would just eat one. But I come out and he's eaten every single one. It's gone. It's like, we've been robbed. And you know why that happens? That's the scarcity mindset. It says, I'm not going to get any more, so I'm just going to eat it as soon as I can. I'm eating every one of it. Okay? All right. Don't rely on fad diets. Don't rely. When we're talking about do's and don'ts. So don't rely on fad diets. I tell my folks that I would much rather you lose weight and get blood sugars under control in a controlled manner than I would you, hopping on a diet on and off, back and forth. Now, I'm going to say that, and as soon as I said that, I'm going to put a caveat and put a pin right there. If your blood sugars are like out the roof, yeah, we need to control them right now. We're not waiting for 6 months. We got to control them right now. Okay? So if you walk into the office and your A1C is 14, 12, 13, 11, 10, right? Any of those numbers or higher than that, or even sometimes a 9. Right now, we've got to control those blood sugars. So I don't want you to say to me when you see me next and say, wait a minute, Dr. Wood, you said on the show that you want us to go slowly. Yeah, that's within reason. And that's a whole nother conversation. But right now, we got to control those blood sugars, right? So don't rely on fad diets. It's because now, if you are using the diet as a lifestyle, you have decided, you know what? I'm going to be low carb. I've decided that that's the place I'd like to be. That's the position I'd like my family to be in. And this is what we're going to do. That's fine. You've made a decision. But it's not, I'm going to do low carb until my blood sugar gets better and until I lose some weight. And then, boom, I'm going off the diet. That's not what I want you to do. Right? Make a lifestyle decision. Make a lifestyle choice. Now, here's what I love about diets, if there's anything beneficial about diet. Who says that you have to be, quote unquote, on a specific diet all the time? I give the example of seasons, right? We do different things in spring than we do in summer, than we do in winter, than we do in fall. We wear different clothes. Why? Because there are seasons in our lives. There's season in the world. And so you can decide, hey, this is how I'm going to function, right? In the wintertime, I'm going to do, I don't know, pick one of the diets, right? We did a show, by the way, on the diets. I'm going to be vegan. In the summertime, I'm going to be, I'm going to do Mediterranean. In the fall, I'm going to be blah, 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 whatever it is. But what you want to do is you want to decide how the trend of your life is going to be. And if you do that, then that is where we want you to be. And then don't, right? We're talking about do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts. Don't eat mindlessly. Do not eat mindlessly. Right? Do not eat mindlessly. Let me see where how. There you go. Do not eat mindlessly. Because when you do, I was talking to my son recently, and I was telling him, these devices that we're all on, or the TV that's playing, right? So he was sitting down to have to eat something just a couple weeks ago, and he went to the refrigerator, got it. I think I was in here. Mom was doing something else, and he was getting a snack, and he sat down at the table with his device. So I said to him, hey, man, just turn the device off for a minute. Just eat the food. Just enjoy it, right? Because what happens sometimes is because we're eating mindlessly, we don't realize what we're eating and how much we eat, right? So you just grab it and you scarf it down. And if you're not careful, then you're like, oh, my goodness, look at that. Okay? So here's a guide. Here's a guide to healthy eating. Here's a guide to healthy eating. Number 1, plan your meals for the week. Plan your meals for the week. So decide, okay, this is what I'm going to eat this week. Now, in that planning, you can put in there that I'm going to have, I don't know, pick your favorite fast food restaurant. This is what we're going to do. But you've planned it. It's not I'm driving home and I see the sign, let me go grab something. When that happens, we tend to not eat the way we want. So what does that mean then? If I'm planning my meals for the week, and this is what I'm going to eat for the week, that means that when I do eat, I have to eat enough and eat in enough balance and enough quantity and enough variety so that when I'm driving home and I see the sign on the highway, my brain doesn't say to me, hey, let's go get some of that. Okay? It doesn't say, hey, let's go get some of that. And we're going to talk here in a minute about why we eat. Okay? Number 2, prep ingredients in bulk. Prep ingredients in bulk. If every time you go to eat, I don't know, pick something, you got to go and you got to chop it up and you got to do, right? And do this and you've got to wash it, then that's more work. And our brain doesn't like to do that kind of work. So prep for the week, prep your meals, and prep your ingredients in bulk. Chop up all the onions and have a bag of onions in the crisper. Chop up your lettuce, put them in one of those containers, right? That you spin it, one of those, spin it, get all the fluid out, and it's in there. So now you got lettuce, chop up your cucumbers, have them in there. Wash the tomatoes. If you do that, then it doesn't become as burdensome. And here, incorporate some no-cook meals. Right? Like that salad, right? Get the salad and maybe, and of course now I told you to use whole foods, but maybe you go out and you grill some chicken. And you got those chicken strips. Is it chicken strips? Right? You have those chicken strips that they're already grilled. You've got the salad that you've already prepped all the things. Now you put that in a bowl. You take the grilled chicken, you put it in the microwave, right? Or you can even drop it in a pan for a couple minutes. And then you just lay it on top. Boom, done. But if you got to go through and clean the chicken and season the chicken and then cook the chicken and then go make the salad because you got to chop up the lettuce, you got to dry the lettuce, you got to wash the tomatoes, you got to cut the cucumbers. All of that work sometimes makes it difficult to be healthy in our eating. And then eat foods you like. Oh man, let me pop off of this one. I'm stopping right there for a minute. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for a minute and let's see. Tech Troublemaker, he said, "I'm the worst kind. I know what I'm supposed to eat, but I am An emotional eater. Oh man, wait for this next slide. 2 slides from now. We're coming. I'm gonna star that one. Okay. All right. So eat foods that you like. Yo, listen. This brain that we have, it is an incredible part of our body. Okay? But it can do some crazy, crazy things. Now, a lot of people, and I was going to tell on myself, but I fall into this category too, right? So people come into the office, or I talk with them, and they'll say to me, I went home and I threw away all the bread. I got rid of all the rice. I got rid of all the potatoes. I got rid of, and they go through this list of stuff, right, that they got rid of, right? And it's not all white things, right? So people say, don't eat white things. That's a whole nother conversation. So they say, hey, I got rid of all this stuff, right? So I say to them, okay, what do you have left? And so they'll go through the list of all the things they have left, and all the things that they bought to replace the things that they threw away. And I said, well, do you like that stuff that you just bought? And they're like, not really. And I said, well, do you like the stuff that you threw away? And they'll say yes. And let me ask you a question. How long do you think it will last? This thing that they just did, right? They brought all the stuff they don't like in the house and threw away all the stuff that they do like. Yeah. I don't see that. That's not a formula for success. Now, within reason, right? I don't think you should in your refrigerator have, 10 gallons of ice cream or, a whole, 10 quarts of juice, right? So that's not what I'm talking about. But I want you to eat foods that you like. So go and sit down. Let me give you an example. One of the places where I think we fail is in discussing ethnicity in our diet. That's right, I said it. So you go to the doctor, right, wherever you're from. I mean, whether you're from the South, from the East, from the West, whether you come from another country, right, or, you live in a particular area and you guys eat a certain way, whatever it is. And so you show up in the medical system the way you eat, and then you go and the doctor, me, says to you, hey, all the stuff that your family has taught you to eat going back generations, we're throwing all of that away, and now you're going to eat this way. Once again, that is a recipe for failure. So eat foods you like. So go through your foods, the foods that you eat, and pick out from those foods the healthiest things that are on that list that you like to eat. Now, there's going to have to be some sacrifice. There's going to have to be some decision that there's certain things that I can't eat a lot of. Okay? But eat foods that you like. And let food be your medicine. Let food be your medicine. I mean, that's something that people say all the time. Let food be your medicine. Okay? All right. So our most valuable, y'all, this is the one I was telling you about. Our most valuable possessions are our time and our health. Our time and our health. So later this evening, we're going to be doing a show called, we're doing a series called Q4 Winning Moves. Q4 Winning Moves. And part of what we're talking in Q4 Winning Moves is how are you prioritizing? How are you using your time effectively? How are you using your time efficiently? Because the time goes away. We're not getting it back. You can't go to tomorrow or yesterday and say, hey, I didn't use this efficiently or effectively. Can I have it back? The answer is no. You got it. You squandered it. That's it. So make sure that you are managing your time, using that effectively. And then the other thing that we have, the other valuable possession, is our health. Now, y'all, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how many possessions you have. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how many degrees you have. If you don't have health, you can't enjoy it. You have those beautiful grandchildren, and you can't throw a ball. You can't go outside because you've got heart failure and you're laid up in a bed. You can't spend time with the family on that special vacation or whatever because you got to be at dialysis. You can't play basketball with your son. You can't take your grandson fishing because you can't see effectively. You can't see well. Right? Now, there are ways around some of that. There are things that people do to compensate for that. But I'm saying to you, let's do a good job of managing our time, and let's do a great job of taking care of our health. Because once again, that's another one. When that goes, you're not getting it back. Time and health, y'all. Time and health. And here, right here, this is one of my favorite parts of this discussion. And it is reasons it's hard to eat healthy. Reasons. Okay. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna do something here really quick. So give me a second, because I want to actually change something that you see on the screen right there. I'm gonna let's see, what do I need to do? This is gonna be all right. Let's get that off for a second. I'm doing this in the background. So we said emotions, taste, so while I do that, we're gonna, yeah. So lots of reasons why we eat the way we eat. All right, and Tech Troublemaker says he's an emotional eater, right? So an emotional eater, and that is so true, because a lot of what we do, a lot of why we eat, is because of our emotions. Now, emotions, and the reason, so emotions is a big one. And I actually lump cortisol into that space, right? I say cortisol is what causes us to eat. One of the things that cortisol does is that cortisol is responsible for getting energy. Cortisol is responsible for getting energy. Cortisol is one of those stress hormones, okay? And let me give you an example, or use this example to explain. So you're a zebra. Right? And you're out minding your business, and a tiger shows up, and the tiger's hungry, and tiger starts chasing you. And as a smart zebra, you don't just hang around, right? You take off. Whew, gone. And you're running. And your body during that process is pumping out cortisol, right? Because it's one of the stress hormones. Cortisol goes and it mobilizes sugar. And if your body effectively and efficiently mobilizes sugar, then you don't become tiger food. You get away. But if for some reason that tiger is hungrier than you and more determined and your stamina goes down, guess what? Tiger food. Okay? So let's assume that we got away. Let's assume that the tiger was chasing us and we got away from the tiger. Now the tiger's gone and the stress level begins to come down. Do you know what the cortisol makes you do? The cortisol says, hey, that was great. We got away from that tiger, but we don't know if we're going to have to run again. So now I've got to go replenish the energy stores that I just used. And so it makes you do what? How do you restore energy stores? You eat. So it makes you eat. And you're pumping that in, right? Now that has nothing to do with in the case of the zebra, right? The tiger's gone, and so the instincts of the zebra to run is gone. I mean, there's no more stress, but it's eating because the cortisol levels were high, and it forces it to eat. And insulin takes that food and it stores it, right? So cortisol makes you eat, insulin stores the food. Make sense so far? All right. Now take us. We're not zebras. We're not running from tigers. We're not out, in the jungles, with animals looking to eat us. But our lifestyles are stressful. And it keeps us in a space of stress. And in that stressful space, our body produces cortisol. That same cortisol that the zebra had. Same thing. Stress hormone. And because the cortisol is up, what is it? What does cortisol make you do? We just talked about it, right? Cortisol makes you eat. Because the cortisol being one of the stress hormones, your body thinks that it is in danger. And so the cortisol is up because you're stressed, right? Because in the zebra's case, the zebra got away from the lion or the tiger, and it's no longer thinking about the lion or the tiger. It's just responding now to the natural hormones that came out during the stress response. And so it goes and it eats, it replenishes the food, and it's full now, and it stops eating. The cortisol level is done, and it's not hanging around thinking, hey, wait a minute, that lion or that tiger chased me at this same spot yesterday. I wonder if he's around that rock. I wonder if he's behind that tree. The zebra is not thinking that. But our stress response, our stressful lives keeps us in a constant tonic state of stress. And because of that, the stress hormones are there and they make us eat. They make us eat. So we're eating because of cortisol and we're storing it because of the insulin. We're eating because of the cortisol, and we're storing it because of the insulin. So what does that sound like? That sounds like weight gain. Yeah, that sounds like weight gain. Okay. And as I've been talking, I'm supposed to be doing this thing here, and just a second. All right, I'll come back to that in a minute. All right. So those are the reasons, right? So emotions, right? And then taste. Well, let me go back to emotions for a second. The other thing is here it is. I got it. I'm just exporting something to put on screen here for just a sec. Here we go. Okay. So so we eat, right, because of emotions. And emotions can come in lots of different ways. For example, you remember what it felt like when mom made that particular meal. Yeah, an emotion comes up. And so we want to recreate that emotion, that safety, the warmth, the connection. Right? Emotions. When I am angry, or when I'm mad, or when I'm sad, or when those emotions come up, because I don't know how to really deal with the emotions, then I eat. And the eating, for a moment, for a little while, soothes and calms the emotions. So emotions. When I'm tired, I eat. When I'm sad, I eat. When I'm happy. Now, here's the thing, right? So a lot of people think that, oh, it's only negative emotions that trigger eating. Well, if you are not yet able to manage emotions, negative or positive emotions, anytime the emotion shows up, what do? You eat. So you go and you have an amazing time with the family. Right? There's nothing wrong. Nobody's like burning stuff up. Nobody's like tearing things down. Just a wonderful experience with the family. And because of the emotions that come up, we eat as a result of that. Okay? All right. Let me pop this up. Give me just a second. Let's do this. And I want to pop this. There you go. Un momento. All right, there we go. Okay, there we are. Okay, there we are. All right, so emotions, taste, right? It tastes good. That's the bliss point. That place, that spot where there's just enough sugar, just enough salt, just enough fat, right? That thing that the company created when they designed that food that makes you say, I can't just have one. Right? That taste. It tastes good. I like how it feels in my mouth. Like one of the things I was telling somebody recently is, when I drink some soda, whether it's diet soda or regular soda, I like that burn in the back of my throat. Right? So I'll drink and drink and drink and drink and drink until I get that burn. And I'm like, right? So whatever that is, that taste, the feel. Some people like crunch. Some people like, to swish things in their mouth. They like the grittiness of certain things. So that taste, that's created for us a lot of times. Right? And sometimes there is an emotion associated with that as well. Okay? Because your mother made cornbread a certain way, and the taste of her cornbread sparks an emotion. And then habit. Habit is the other reason why we do the things that we do. Because our habit is to eat that. When we get together, we eat that. At different times of the year, we eat that. We get up in the morning and we eat a certain things. We've created a habit of doing that. Friend comes into town, we take them out and we eat. We have a christening, a blessing, a marriage, we eat. Okay, so all those reasons are reasons why we eat the way that we eat. And then we want to be careful. We want to be careful with that. Okay, so when we talk about reversing diabetes, right? We're talking about staying healthy. Reversing diabetes means living longer and better. Reversing diabetes means living longer and better. So as we talk about the diabetes model, and the reversing diabetes model, let me say it that way. When we talk about the reversing diabetes model, there we go. Your thought for diabetes has to be, how do we manage insulin? Insulin is that substance. Insulin is that substance that stores energy. Anytime we eat, insulin comes out and it stores the energy. And insulin is responsible for lots of abnormalities in the body, right? Weight, and it's a growth factor. We put on weight and so forth, right? So if somehow we are able to get the insulin to work effectively, it also, though, manages blood sugar. So the question is, why is the insulin high? One of the reasons insulin is high is because our body is compensating for increased weight, and the amount of insulin that it needs to keep the blood sugar down at a certain weight is higher. So it needs more power. The insulin has to work harder. So the body says, hey, I want to make sure these blood sugars stay as good as possible, so I'm going to pump my insulin up. And when the body pumps the insulin up, the insulin causes weight gain. And we get insulin resistance. And because insulin is resistant, right, the blood sugar gets higher. And the blood sugar gets higher, we put on weight because the insulin goes up, and we go through the cycle, right? So higher insulin, it's not as effective. We put on weight. The insulin makes us hungry. We go and we eat. The blood sugars go up. And now the body has to make more insulin. You see the cycle? So how do we decrease the insulin? And it's with the two other things that you see there: carbohydrate management and exercise. Carbohydrate management. 1, don't put as much in that the insulin has to manage. It's kind of like a car, right? If you don't put that much gas in it, there's not that much gas in it. Right? So manage carbs. That, I'm going to say to you, is not as easy as sometimes we make it out to be. I'm just going to be honest. So either we put less in or we burn it off. Put less in or we burn it off. And that's the exercise part. If we burn the carbs off, then the insulin becomes more effective. Insulin becomes more effective. So that's the model. And we're going to be talking more and more about that model. We're going to expand on that as we come back over the next couple of weeks, as we are talking about diabetes. We're not in Diabetes Awareness Month anymore, but we're talking about the war for your health. And of the diseases that are out there, they used to tell us in medical school that if you knew all there was to know about syphilis, right? That was back in the day. Then you knew medicine. Now, if you know how to manage diabetes, then you know medicine. Because diabetes, and the reason they were saying that is because syphilis affected so many parts of the body, right? Diabetes affects an enormous amount of the entire body. Every single cell in your body is affected by diabetes. Now, we talk about the triopathy, the eyes and the the eyes and the feet and the kidney, but all of the body is awash in blood sugar, in elevated blood sugar. So we want to make sure that we are managing diabetes, and we reverse it. Okay, reverse diabetes. We find ways to decrease insulin. We find ways to manage our carbs in terms of what we're putting in. And number 3, we work on expelling as much of the carbs from our body as possible. That's the exercise. Now, each of those, we're going to come back and talk more about them specifically, right? Insulin, carbohydrates, and exercise, and how they play a part in the reversing of our diabetes. Yep. If you are out there, I'm so glad that you are here. I'm glad that you stopped by. I'm glad that you came. I'm glad that you are involve us. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you are appreciating, if you're getting value from the things that we're doing in this show, in this episode, and also on the channel in general. Right? Go ahead and send this link to your friends. Let them know that we are here, that we are building a community, of a place where people can come, where you can get information about your disease process. Okay. Make sure that you get out to our YouTube channel, and let's pop that over. You'll see all the things that we've been doing out there on our YouTube channel, all the shorts that we've been doing. One of the series that I've just done during the month of November was I was telling my diabetes story, from my diagnosis, what it was like, some of the feelings I have, some of the thoughts I have surrounding diabetes. So make sure you get over there, and on the channel you can sign up, you can log in, and not log in, but you can sign up for as a subscriber. Make sure you hit the like button, and make sure that you share it, and make sure you hit the bell so that you be notified when we do different shows. The War for Your Health is the series that we're in right now. We completed the series. Didn't complete the series, but we were doing some shows in Mastering Diabetes, right? So Mastering Diabetes, that's another one that's there. I think there are like 26 videos within that series that you can get to. The Art of Letting Go is one that we did, where we talked about personal development and how we can succeed moving forward. Anyway, so there are lots of different videos that we did on the channel. Make sure that you get there, and you will be able to see all of those. If you've not already done so, also get over to our website. That's Dwayne Wood MD. And on the website, you will see a book that we wrote that is 7 Keys to Success. You can download that. That's a free book that you can get. Steps that successful leaders use to create the life they want. Unmasking the Sweet Truth About Sugar. That's our course that we did that is online. It's an online self-paced course. I would love for you to become a part of that. And if you would like to work with me in a more personal level, you can do that as well, in helping to reverse your diabetes, in helping to manage your weight, in helping to achieve success in your diet, in your health. Remember, we say taking charge of your health and doing the things you need to do to get to the next level. Okay, so I would love to do that. Love to be part of that. You can get over to our Next Level coaching program and sign up on the website. And then if you need to get in contact with us, on the screen there you'll see Dwayne Wood MD, and you'll see us there on all of the social media platforms. We're there on LinkedIn, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Let's see if I can pull that up. Here we go. Dwayne Wood MD is our handle on all of those platforms. You can also DwayneWoodMD.com and info@DwayneWoodMD.com. That is not the correct phone number, so please ignore that. That's on the screen. All right. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. I'm very excited that you stopped by, that you came and allowed us to be a part of your evening. Later tonight, around 10:30, we'll go back and we'll be doing our Q4 Winning Moves show. Come by, stop by if you got some work. We do a work time. We do a little message, some teaching, some skills that we're learning on what we need to do to be successful in this final quarter and then set ourselves up for success as we move forward into the new year. So, thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health, your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. I also help type 2 diabetics who are interested in reversing their diabetes to learn what they need to do so they can be successful and avoid complications and live the life they always wanted. Thank you for being here. We'll see you tonight at Q4 Winning Moves, or we'll see you next week at our regular show, 7 o'clock Central, here in this space. Good night, everybody.